And go. Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Free, Happy, and Thriving podcast. It's for the first time a guest video podcast. I'm so excited. I'm here with Malia, and I'm just so excited about this podcast. I have to start by telling you that this is me being sneaky and using the podcast to get Malia on a one-on-one chat with me because I'll tell you how I met her. So, and I'll tell you the story behind this. So Malia is a homeschooling mama, and I'll actually read you her actual bio. Is a homeschooling mom, a special educator, and behavior analyst who is passionate about learning through play. And she helps homeschooling families with high energy, hands-on learners build a fun and playful homeschool experience. And if you know anything about me, that I share my story all the time, I'm a homeschooling mama. I built my business to homeschool. And I met Malia because I'm in her wonderful, incredible membership experience, which is they play to, I'm going to get the name properly, play to learn homeschool hub, but we call it the hub. So I'm always thinking of it as the hub.
I know, right?
Right? And I myself needed so much community, and I'm so inspired by Malia because she is so experienced and has all this background in education, but also she's a homeschooling mama and entrepreneur mama. So you could imagine just how excited I was to learn from her, and how excited I was when she said yes to come here to talk to all of us and share her story around building a business and homeschooling, her tips around getting started with homeschooling. And I just can't wait for you to meet her, to hear from her. Malia, thank you so much for saying yes to this. Thank you so much for being here. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I have to tell you, when you joined the community, I was so excited because you were my first international member. So that made me feel so special. And I just love that so much. And I'm so excited to chat with you.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Thank you for that. And you know what? This is another thing. I'll be honest with you. When I joined, I guess I never thought of it. Like I've never even thought to look somewhere in my area, because I see homeschooling and that's exactly what I'm getting from the hub and all your trainings and all the guest speakers and all the support there. I see homeschooling and what I was looking for as a place where I connect with other mamas who are homeschooling, and strategies, ideas, but mostly I just wanted to hear from other people that are feeling like I'm doing a good job on this, I'm helping my children. So my first question to you is, what's your story? Tell me your story about homeschooling and business.
Okay. Gosh, how far back do you want me to go?
As far as you want to. I'm interested. We are all interested.
So you mentioned that my background is in education. So yes, I started this education journey as a teacher. I'm a licensed special education teacher in the United States in Virginia. And I taught in the public school system here for 11 years before coming home to my kids. So first I was in the early childhood program teaching preschool to 2 to 5 year olds who had a diagnosis of autism.
Okay.
Or other special needs. And so play was really prevalent there and really key into tapping into getting them learning and especially talking. A lot of those preschool kids weren't talking yet. And so we had a lot of goals around pulling language out of them. And so play was always the thing that I loved to utilize because they're little, they want to be fun. They want to be getting their hands dirty and getting messy. And I wanted to also allow them to lean into the things that they were interested in, right? Not just sit down, this is what we're learning. And so that's where my passion for play really, really started. And then I transitioned from that role when my oldest son was born into an assistive technology support teacher role. So that kind of was a spinoff of that teaching language because I was working with students who were maybe still nonverbal at an older age and using technology to communicate. I was also supporting kids who were struggling with executive functioning skills. So those skills that are required for staying organized, following directions, all of those things. So I was providing tools to support students in that area. I was providing tools to support students who needed assistance with writing or fine motor. So I got this like huge picture of what's happening for all types of students, right? And I've always been super passionate about that because I'm a sibling of a brother who has cerebral palsy. So he is in a wheelchair, and he needs a lot of physical need supports. So so that like long story, backstory, that's where my passion started for special education. So then when the pandemic hit, things kind of shifted in my perspective of sending my own kids to school. I'd be lying if I said I'd never thought about homeschool before that, because I had, honestly, and I dabbled in multi-level marketing businesses and things like that, saying I need to be home with my kids. Like that is where my heart lies. It started getting really hard to send my kids to daycare or preschool and be spending all my time with other people's kids, but never getting to see what my kids were doing and what they were learning. And I love seeing other people's kids thrive, right? That is one of my biggest passions. And that's kind of where this business spun off into, because I came home, I started homeschooling my kids, and then I started missing supporting others. And so I thought, maybe I can marry these two things and stay home, homeschool my kids, be there for all of their big learning moments, because that is what I love, when the light bulb goes off and you see them learn something new. There's something so exciting about being there to witness that. And so I thought I can marry my ability to be home and see that with my kids, but also still be out there and supporting other homeschool families that might not know what resources are available or have a background in education and feel like they can't homeschool because of that reason, when in reality, you are so fully capable. And so I love to coach others through homeschooling, especially homeschooling high energy, hands-on learners who are kind of outside of the box, right? Who don't fit that mold of sit down and read it from a book and learn in that way.
I love that so much. I love how you've come around from using your passion in teaching to, you've said everything like that. I think of a homeschooling mama without the background education, which is, I want to see my children learn. I want to be there for the special moments. But it's so unique to hear it from someone that has teaching experience, that has been in the education system that pretty much we are all used to, because I've been through the education system.
Yes, me too.
Yourself too, right? And we're used to that. That's the way. But for you to come from that environment and know that it's okay, I can do it here in the homeschool and spin off a business of that, knowing you can help other people. I'm gonna say it again. I'm so grateful. I've met you online. We met on Facebook, and I'm in your group, and I get to learn from you, from someone that is so passionate and honestly, just so beautifully you said it, because there's nothing selfish to want to experience your own children, even though you are a passionate and dedicated teacher that helps other children. There's not, but the fact that you spin off this entire business and so that you can continue helping other children, you've got me for life. I'm never leaving, because I that was so special. And I hope that anybody hearing this that's either looking to homeschool, or even if you are not fully homeschooling, but you are, you're doing home education in addition or part of it, like definitely check out Malia. I was moving house when I joined the hub, and I didn't have time to look at it, but I had a feeling. We communicated a little bit, and I had a feeling, an intuition, something like I have to be there. I don't know why I have to be in a hub. And I'm just like so grateful that you're here and sharing this. And tell me this, as most of us are business mamas here listening in, how do you feel? How do you tackle it? Business and homeschooling, in the sense of not feeling like the business takes away from the homeschooling, and managing them both.
Yeah.
I know a lot of mamas want to be home with their kids, and a lot of them either need to continue bringing income to a revenue, so need to have a business, or they want, right, like just like you said, they are passionate about what they're doing and they would like to continue to do that thing that they're passionate about, but may feel like it can only be one or the other. And I said to you at the beginning that although I started my business to homeschool when my children were a dream and a prayer. It was, before I was even married with my husband, but I knew. So, and although I did all of that and I've built it all around it, I still feel like, am I failing them? Can I do this? Do you know what I'm saying? So how do you do
Yes.
it? I love to know your experience.
Yeah. So I would be lying if I said I never ever felt that way myself, right? I'm not necessarily the expert, but what I do think is that we have to lean into the season of life that we're in. And this is something that I think can be really hard, especially for really driven entrepreneur moms, right? Because we want to succeed and excel and do all we can in our business, but we also don't want to let go of that family because that's the reason we started. And so I would say that leaning into your season is key. So there are some times when I feel like I have to really prioritize the top few items that I need to do in business to keep things going, but maybe not be in a full push ahead mode, if that makes sense. So that I am being present for my kids. And then I think that goes the other way as well. So there are times in business where we want to push. And so leaning into the supports in the community and family members and other homeschooling mamas, if you have local friends who homeschool, and thinking about ways that you can support each other through that. So things that come top of mind are looking into co-op groups. So on Wednesdays, I have the luxury of a few hours alone because my oldest goes to a drop-off co-op for a few hours where he's learning literature and science and playing games and having fun with his peers, that social piece, right? That everyone always says that we don't get as homeschoolers. I guarantee we get them. And then my daughter goes and hangs out with my mother-in-law. So I have a few hours of focused work time a week. I've built that into our schedule. And then the other thing I would say is in regards to having homeschool mom friends, work out some kind of babysitting trade. I've participated in a babysitting co-op where I would take a friend's child for a few hours and then we would swap and she would do that for me. So there are ways to kind of build in strategy.
Yeah.
And also if you have younger kids, even older kids, building in a quiet time into your day and your daily rhythm can be hugely helpful because everybody needs a little rest, right?
Yeah.
So building that into our day so our kids can have that restful time and we can have a moment to think, right?
Yeah.
Plan, or, send an email, all of that it's totally manageable if you plan your rhythm around
That's
working
one of the
and
things that
homeschooling.
you've talked about in that episode. I've listened, I think, more than once, where you talked about the quiet time part and a little bit of your organization around that. That's such a big thing. That's amazing. I'll be very honest with you. I haven't done those parts of the co-op and looking for the support that way outside the family. And I think that I'm missing something important. So, and that's the power of sometimes asking those questions and asking people, how are you managing this? You'll get ideas and you'll get ways in which it's all possible.
Right.
How old are your little ones?
So my oldest is 8 and my youngest will be 4 in 2 weeks. So she turns 4 this spring. I'm so excited.
Hold on, it's your birthday week.
It is.
Happy
It is my
birthday.
birthday. Thank you.
When is your birthday? Is it this week?
So my birthday is the 23rd of April. So this Sunday.
Nice.
And then my daughter is in early May. So exciting.
Oh, you're so close. That's so beautiful. Happy birthday to you and happy birthday to your daughter. I love it.
We have busy spring family birthday season in our family. Lots
I
of spring
love that.
birthdays.
And I was watching, I'm on your stories all the time. So if, definitely follow Malia on Instagram. We'll have all the links set up around the episode. And I was seeing that you're preparing all sort of things for camp, I think, right?
Yes, yes. I'll be spending my birthday weekend with all of the Cub Scouts in a camping trip. So
I love it. That sounds amazing.
yeah.
I love how you have it set up. I love how you're just, making it all work and taking in an approach of how easy is possible. Tell me this, do you tell your little ones that you're working? Do you kind of like talk to them about, because if we go to work, right? Although I haven't experienced that because I already had the business when my little ones were little, but I'm seeing around the family, oh, mommy's going to work. Bye-bye. You're with Nana. And then coming back. I have done more of telling my children I'm going to work because they're with daddy. We work from home, so we share like that. But
Yeah.
there's sometimes when I need to pick up an email, and in a new house, I've put my office in in the school, actually. It's where the playroom, behind me are all the play stuff.
I love
and the
that.
school stuff. And sometimes I have to send an email, as you said, and I'm choosing that moment, and I'm actually learning from you, and they have that, where it's like they're working, they're playing, and they're both playing together, my 4-year-old, my 2-year-old, and I'll be like, oh, mommy's going to do a little bit of work on the laptop, and I kind of related it to the laptop. That's mommy's work. Do you do that? Do you communicate that? Do you think they take that positively if you work in front of them, like now all the time, but now and then? How do you tackle that as a homeschooling mama and business mama?
Yeah, I do think because of the ages of my kids now, I am communicating that more. Like I need 10 minutes to send an email and then we can go outside and play. And they're very receptive to that. So I think the older your kids get, it gets a little bit easier, right? And especially with my 8-year-old, he's, now he's old enough where I can let him go out in the backyard or the front yard and I'm okay with him being by himself. I still, go out when my 4-year-old wants to go out, but I do think allowing them to see you work is really powerful as well. And especially as homeschooling parents, because it allows them to start thinking about the possibilities for their future, right? And how they can build something from home, or they can, be whatever they want to be. Right now in my family, I was laughing yesterday, we had this, what do you want to be when you grow up conversation. My son said he wants to be a professional baseball player, a monster truck driver, or a policeman. And my daughter said she wanted to be a princess and a mermaid. So I love these, and they're all totally something to go for. So
right.
But I do think modeling the ethics behind working and showing them the power that you can work and be present with your family is so important.
Honestly, I love so much that you said that, because working with them when they're very little, like, I'll put them in the wrap and they work with me. And then often my husband and I are just swapping, really. That's when they were little. We just work, in the wrap, kids. They're always napping, then play. Then you can get a bit of work done. Once they were older, we were swapping. And I feel like for the first beginning of maybe my eldest being 3 or so, I don't remember telling him I was going to work. We'll just swap, we'll just swap. Like sometimes he'll cry if I go, so there'll be a little distraction and he's having wonderful daddy time and I'll go work. And there was one day when I thought, hold on, tell him that I'm working. And then also tell him, mommy loves her work. I'm going to go work. I'm so excited. I do what I love. I'll come back and we'll play. And now he's saying more and more that to me. And my eldest had speech delay. He's like kind of getting better now. So there was some time between until he was communicating back that to me. But literally he would start saying things like, like mommy's going to work. And then he will come to this. Nowadays he comes to the school and says, mommy, you work here? So he's like, he's sending me to work already. I'm like, no, I'm schooling you now. And I, just like you said, I really sat on that for a second and asked myself whether I should show him that I work. like both my husband and I have businesses or have different businesses. And somehow, and I don't mean this in any controversial way, but somehow I never thought I shouldn't say that dad is at work. In fact, when he goes out for events, since they were babies, we explain to them dad is at work, dad is coming back. But I just didn't always think I should say it. I don't know why, until I was like,
That's interesting. Yeah.
right? I was like, but hold on, just like what you explained there. I said, hold on, but I love my work. And that will just inspire them to probably think that they, but I reinforce it with, like, if I'm having some work that I'm not enjoying, I'll definitely not tell them. Like, hey, I'm hating my work, but I have to do it now. I'm so sorry. But
Yeah.
I don't know, like I paused on that for a second. I really paused on that. And then I just realized, no, hold on, that's a good thing. So I love how you just easily and like naturally explain your thought process on that. It's so amazing.
Yeah. I won't say it's always easy, right? Like,
No.
you can say mommy needs to work and they can push back because they don't want you to.
Yeah.
But I do think it's really powerful for them to witness that you are setting aside that time and still being able to also set a time that's purposeful and available where you can be totally present with them as well.
That's it. Malia, did you homeschool and have your business straight away, or did you homeschool first and have your business after, started your business after?
So I was working in the public school system, and my son was in his last year of preschool, and we, because of the pandemic, went fully home. Everybody was fully home. So I was working from home for the school system and started homeschooling my oldest. And we did that for 6 months, and then he was due to start kindergarten, and I was like, I knew that my position was going to take me back into school buildings at some point in the following year. And I just had this gut instinct that I had to stay home and we had to keep doing what we were doing because it was working so beautifully for our family. So honestly, I didn't come up with and start pursuing this as a business until the end of his kindergarten year. And then in the state of Virginia, where I live, you have to show proof of progress at the end of the school year as a homeschool family and submit it to your superintendent of the school system. And so I started off first by offering that service. And I really enjoyed that. And then I started thinking, like, how can I keep this momentum and keep this going as a year-round thing and not just an end of the year evaluation thing? And I've just really loved what it's grown into. It started with a beta course, and then it morphed into this idea for this community. And I have just loved this piece so much, this getting to know people in a casual way, right? Like just having coffee chats with friends who are in similar situations to you. And I'll be honest, I do think I have not marketed it this way, but everybody who is in the homeschool hub is an entrepreneur mom. And I think that's so amazing that we're all homeschooling and we are all entrepreneurs working towards big goals and wanting to have our kids home. And so I think it's been a really
homeschooling mama. That's the place to be. Come to the hub. Right? Come to the hub.
Right? Yeah. I just thought that was a really unique kind of look into data after the launch, that like everybody who came had a similar passion, right? For both their own business and creating something that allows them to be home and homeschool their kids.
I love that so much. I love that so much. As you share your story, and as I told you, this is so selfishly set up so I can have one-on-one time with Malia. So it's so like I'm hearing from what, because as I think I said it already live, I said it before we started recording, that although I started a business for homeschooling, and I know that a lot of business mamas are questioning that, even if they have their children education, and they question whether they have enough time when they come home to do all the things if they start a business. I hear that you were obviously in the pandemic in that situation as most people were in the workplace, that you now have to work from home and you have to homeschool your children because the schools have closed. So you manage those both, right, for a while. So I'm assuming that you've never had to question this, which is, I'm realizing, is this just limiting belief that somehow you start the business to create the freedom to not have to go out the house so you can homeschool, but then you start questioning whether having a business overall is stopping you from homeschooling, and you're thinking, are they getting enough, or that, or am I doing enough? I love how you said about at the beginning on the last question about prioritizing it, but I also love that you talk to me a little bit about that transition. Just what was it like to homeschool while you were working? And I know that we can have people, because a lot of people here listening to the podcast are either starting or growing their online business. And I know for a fact that a lot of us at the start are juggling jobs and starting the business. A majority are mamas. What was that transition from working and homeschooling to business and homeschooling? And in terms of feeling like you're doing enough for them, what did that look like for you?
Oh, this is like a hard hitter. Okay. So I do think I'm going to say that like I'm not exempt from that limiting belief, right? I've totally felt that as well, that I'm not doing enough for my kids. And I do think that when you sit down and self-reflect and map out everything that you are doing, it's sometimes eye-opening how much you do in a day as a homeschool mom and as an entrepreneur. And so I would encourage you to do that, first of all, if you're feeling those feelings, so that you can see. And maybe it turns out that work is heavier on paper. And so then you can self-reflect on that and see how you can adjust, right?
Yeah.
And better fit that in. I do also believe firmly that if you have those feelings that you're failing your kid, you're not.
Yeah.
Because moms who are failing their kids don't feel that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hear you.
If you were truly not doing enough, then your kids wouldn't be on your mind. You wouldn't be thinking about it. So I think that's important to know as well. And if you're ever,
everyone, we all need to hear that twice a day.
Yeah, it's something I think that we don't often sit down and think about. And those of us who are really worried about failing our kids are definitely filling their cups for sure.
Yeah, and prioritizing them. Yeah. Yeah. Why do you homeschool? I know there probably are a lot of reasons and you've shared it, but like, just if you were to just say like, why homeschool? Why do you homeschool? What's like your core behind it?
So my biggest reason for homeschooling has, and I think will always be, the ability to let kids be kids and play. It's so important for our kids to have that time to get out in nature or get out their toys and just engage independently and learn those problem solving skills and executive functioning skills like organizing and planning and all of those things. And I feel like something that's lacking a lot in our early childhood programs is just time to play. We've become super heavily focused on academics, I think. And I think that there's a place for that, sure, as well. But I just wanted my kids to have the freedom to play and be kids a little bit longer.
I love that. And if a mama, let's say busy mama, maybe she's still at work, maybe she's starting a business, she needs to do this, she wants to start to homeschool. She's anywhere in the world. She's in the United States, she's here in the UK, she's in Spain, she's in Canada, she's in New Zealand, she's anywhere in the world. Where does she start? Like, I know laws and things differ what you give to the school or if you have to, but in terms of just like, where do you start in terms of like, just I guess start or and think this is okay, it's a good start, that type of thing.
Yeah, I think the first thing I would encourage a mom to do who's thinking about homeschooling is to really map out what they want for their kids to be learning, what's most important for their children. And maybe that's more playtime, maybe that's a strict schedule. I don't know. But sitting down and mapping out what you want for your children, and then looking at that and looking at the different options. So researching what your country or state guidelines might be in regards to homeschooling. I mean, there are countries who don't allow homeschooling at all. So looking into that first and foremost after you have mapped out your priorities and values for your kids. And then from there, diving into the different curriculums that are available and different styles of homeschooling and kind of building your dream homeschool from there. And that's something that I help people do in my course. So
Tell us all
I'm really
about
passionate about that.
Tell us how people can learn from you, how they can engage with you. I know that you've got your social media. I know that you got a freebie for us that can answer this question for our listeners. And tell us about the hub that I am so happy and grateful to be in.
Yeah. So let's start with the freebie, because who doesn't want a good freebie? If you go to my website, www.maliaphelpswaller.com/homeschool toolbox,
you'll get the link.
Access. Yes, I will share the link with you to put in the show notes. You will get access to the homeschool checklist, which walks you through the steps, kind of what we just talked about, of how to get started homeschooling. And you'll also get access to my playful learning ebook series. So tons of ideas on how to incorporate play into your homeschool day. And so that is a great place to start. You can also find me on Instagram at Malia Phelps Waller Homeschool and on Facebook at Malia Phelps Waller. And I also have a free Facebook group. So you can find that on Facebook at Make Homeschool Learning More Fun the Play to Learn way. And
I'm in there too. I'm in there too, right? I am in there. Too.
Yes, you are.
Amazing. And the hub, tell us about the hub. So I craved community. I just craved I was constantly looking for a curriculum as my children were very little, and I felt like I was kind of following different things, the Montessori kind of style things, and I had toy subscriptions and things that felt like they worked for me as they were very little. But then as they grew, and especially my oldest now is 4, like as he got closer to that, I craved more like a sense of community, to just hear what are other people, our mamas doing, and especially learning from someone with expertise like yourself. So I recommend it a lot for putting yourself in that place, but I let you, the creator, recommend it for your intention.
So the Play to Learn Homeschool Hub is a monthly membership community where we have 2 master classes a month. One I provide, and then I bring in a guest expert on a similar topic every month to share in the hub. So this month I shared about teaching executive functioning skills to our children through things that we're already doing at home, right? So through chores and through our daily routine and rhythm. And then my guest expert, Krista Aylward, came in, and she is an occupational therapist turned baker who came in and shared how to get in the kitchen and do a baking activity with your kids and all of the functional and educational skills that are involved in that. So that was a really fun chat to have. Also, every month we have a end of month coffee chat question and answer session. So you can come in, hang out with me. I'm drinking my coffee. You can bring your coffee, and we can just answer any questions. We're going to chat about our strengths, and we're going to chat about our big wins for the month. And we'll discuss any kind of like needs, any areas that we felt like were hard, and kind of strategize and collaborate together. And then also you get a purposeful play pack. So every month I curate some play ideas. And I create a printable play pack with ideas for toddler through, 100 years old. There's 5 activities for toddlers, 5 for preschool, 5 for elementary, and then 5 for the whole family, so teenagers and adults, to engage in with the little people as well. And I think that is such a fun way to learn and grow together. And I also share curated toy lists that go along with the theme, should you want to expand on that outside of the printable play pack.
And if you're anything like me and you spend too much time researching those toys, you know how much time that was. I want to show something, because I want to admit this, and I feel like I might have already said it, but I was moving house when I joined the membership, and I want to show something here. And I didn't yet join a coffee chat, and I'm catching up on the replays just based on just the chaotic of my schedule that there still is. And I'm catching up on the replays, and I'm getting the packs, and I'm catching up on the replays. And then halfway kind of through starting, Malia, you set it up as a podcast.
Yes, so I forgot to share that.
Right? If this is how I catch up with it, and it's just because that helped me so much in the midst of having it all so chaotic. But it's like in the midst of changing, I've moved significantly areas, so that meant I have to find a whole new place where to take my children to activities, like a whole new community. And it felt like I have just settled in the last place, which was a completely different area of the country. I've just settled. I knew my library, I knew my singing alongs, I knew my Lego club, I knew my things. And now I had to start over.
You're starting over, so hard.
Remember, I was telling you, but then joining and just having that, and just like being able, and especially once you put them on the podcast, and I'm able to listen as I'm doing other things. I'm listening in the evening, and it's just that, because you see, I said community, and a lot of times when we think community, we think a lot about like Facebook groups and conversation. I'll explain something because maybe it helps someone like me, because it's really helping me, the membership, Malia. So I'm really grateful for what you've put there, and I couldn't recommend it more. Just honestly, for me, for those of us that are so busy, and sometimes community sounds overwhelming, community in the sense of, because there is community, but there's also the community as you need it. You tap into it. So I'm not feeling behind. You know what I mean? That's another thing. We learn more, but we're feeling behind. And I'm not feeling behind because I've got a podcast. I'm going into the community. I can benefit from it. I can take some information. I can hear a new idea. I can connect with another mom. A lot of us don't even know where to start and what other moms are doing and what does it look like, and is my day structure like this too much or too little, or what's like sometimes we just want to see. I'm a firm believer of seeing inside someone's process rather just being taught. What I love about how you share it is that you're basically giving me like a bird's eye view into what you do at home with your little one. And I already know to trust it because you've been in education, and I trust that process. You know, when you're in the one that you've just said now, when you're explaining executive skills and you're talking about how you let your little one organize the toys, and how you're like, I'm going to let it go. Okay, I will accept that he's arranging his toys that way.
Yes. Sometimes that's really hard.
And we'll come back to it. These are the everyday things, you know, they're like kind of like and these, you know, these are the small big things that is because you're sharing it as you're doing it. I'm able to relate so much. So I recommend it so much from that perspective. I cannot thank you enough for being here with us. I hope everyone enjoyed as much as I did having this chat with you. I will include all
I loved this. It was so much fun.
Thank you so much. I'll include all the links. So the freebie, Malia's Facebook group, Instagram, the link to the hub, that will be there as well. Come in. I can't wait to say hi to you as well. And yeah, definitely connect with Malia, because you can see from this chat your passion and your knowledge. Thank you so much for being here. This was so wonderful. Thank you for sharing your time.
Thank you for having me. I had so much fun.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.